Hi guys, welcome to my baking station. So this video is a teaser. This is for Dai. Before I bake that cake and before I show you how I do it, I'm going to show you where I actually bake my cakes. So my baking station starts from here and it goes all the way to there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start with the very wonderful machine that I bought to start my baking adventures, which is my very beautiful Kitchenaid. So inside, so that I don't have to keep on bringing up my stuff when I want to bake, I put in the attachments to my Kitchenaid. So I'll just show you right now. So the first thing that I am going to bring out is one of the first paddles that you use. It normally uses for wisping cakes. So that's the first one. Now this is the best one because this one actually, what this actually does, it scrapes the side of the bowl when you're using it. Not necessarily this one because this one is quite big. There's a smaller one that I normally use. So that one, if you use that one, what will happen is when it's whisking round, it actually scrapes the side of the bowl. If you use the glass bowl, it's too big, so it's not effective on that particular attachment. So this attachment you use to whisk eggs and cream, and this final one is for bread. So as I said, I normally store it inside this glass bowl. And this one I had to actually buy it separate. So when you get your KitchenAid, depending on which one you get the KitchenAid, then you get all those attachments bar one. So the only thing that didn't come with this one was this particular one. This one I had to buy it separately. So this baking hobby can get particularly expensive because KitchenAid have really it's well, I wouldn't say it's an addiction, but you know, KitchenAid, their products mean that you can add to them. So my KitchenAid came with all the attachments bar this one, and it came with that silver attachment. So as I said, the bowl came totally separate. So you might be wondering, why did I buy the glass one? So the reason why, my rationale behind buying the glass one, was when I'm making bread, I can use it to proof the dough to make it rise. So that's the sealed container that I can use to proof the dough. So this mug here is just purely for decoration. I don't actually use it for anything. That actually contains a lot of the stuff that I use, and in here is my egg cupboard. So as you can see, I haven't got that many eggs in there at the moment. I do actually have some eggs behind me. I'm going to put in there a bit later. So I'll just go through quickly what's in here. So this is my measuring spoons that I use to measure out things. This is a scoop, which I don't use that often actually, but I should. But I think the reason why I don't use it is because it doesn't actually tell you what the measurements are. This is for when you want to test if your cake is ready. You stick it in there. And then in here I've got vanilla extract, which I use a lot in my cakes. I also have a whole nutmeg. And there I have grinded nutmeg. So I've got a choice of 2, cinnamon, and this last one I bought was because I was using it for the black cake, Jamaican black cake. I had to buy that one. And the container that it's in, I just bought that from TK Maxx. So actually, a lot of these items came from TK Maxx. In fact, all of them, all these attachments came from TK Maxx. Not that I'm doing an advert for them. So we're going to whiz to my very important baking station, and I love this because I tell you what I did. It's actually a tray, and at the bottom is, let's see if I can remove it actually. So at the bottom is a turntable, and I got that from IKEA. And I had this idea that I wanted a tray with all my baking items on it, but I didn't really want to always have to, lean over what I was looking for. So I positioned, so basically I got this tray from IKEA. No, actually I got this tray from TK Maxx again. And I have a tray inside which I got from IKEA, and there's a mat inside also. And basically what this allows me to do is, rather than leaning over, that's a little hack, I can turn this round and reach for what I need. So that was the idea behind having that turntable. And I think it's just an amazing feature. So I'll just go through what I have. So these containers, TK Maxx also, rice flour, cornmeal, which I used to make cornbread, wholemeal flour, which I use to make wholemeal bread because I don't eat white bread. And then I've got almond flour here. Here I have plain flour. And then here I have ice and sugar. And I'll just show you what I have here. I'll just move that so you can see. You probably can't see that, so I'll just angle the camera there. And at the back there is self-raising flour. Oh, you can see. Okay, so the last few things I'm going to show you. So this I normally use. This is like something they use nowadays. They probably use this to aim at you when you go to some shops to take your temperature. But I normally use this if I'm making bread and I want to check the temperature of the water. Because when you're baking bread, you have to, there's a science behind it. So basically you have to make sure that if you're using certain type of yeast, you have to mix it in lukewarm water. So it has to be body temperature. So I normally use this. So you just angle it like that and it gives you the temperature straight away. See whether that would come up. So it says low because it's not aimed at any particular thing. So I got that. I think I got this in Costco actually. And then this I normally use just as if you want to like do some decorations on your cake and you want to use ice and sugar, and you just put some there and you just tap it like that. And actually I'll show you what, because these actually it's an interesting story. So normally when I watch videos to try and use a recipe that I'm interested in, I always see them using these well, they use containers to put measurements inside of maybe salt, flour, sugar a little bit. And I was looking for small containers to do that and I couldn't find anything. And then I found these in IKEA, and they're basically they're for tea lights. So, and they were £4 for a pound, so very handy. And then the last few things behind here. So this is a whisk I normally use. So I'm not angling that very well. So this is a whisk I normally use when I am, so what they recommend is if you're making cakes, mix all your dry ingredients together. So put all your dry ingredients in a container and just mix them together with the salt, the baking powder. So that's what I normally use this for. And These are my sifts that I normally use when I'm sifting out my flour into the containers like that, because it removes all the air. And then finally in there is my scale that I do use on a regular basis. I got this from Argos, I think I got it from. And then I'm just going to show you a few other things that I use. And so this is an attachment for my Kitchenaid again. This is for, I need to use this actually because I haven't actually used it. But the thing about when you're using all these attachments, you have to use them, then clean them. And I think that's why I haven't used it. But basically this is a sieve, and it's got a scale on it actually. So this is actually, if you don't want to weigh out your items beforehand, you can actually use that while you're putting your flour, whatever measurements you're putting. You can use that scale to do that, so that's quite handy. And finally, this is where I keep my other stuff. So this is my handheld, I don't know what this is called, my handheld blender from Kenwood. And this is all my other stuff that I use, that I don't use on a regular basis. So this is the yeast that I use for my bread, baking powder, rose oil, and some other contraptions here that I use for baking. So guys, that's my teaser, my so that's the whistle tour of my baking area, or what I like to call my baking station. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to ask you to subscribe to my channel. Only joking. So that's my whistle tour of my baking station. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be doing a video on baking that lovely pear and almond cake. But I just thought I'll show you where all the magic happens. Okay? Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.